Yeah, so today we are going to talk a bit about user acquisition, machine learning, and on the open web, and the way that we can create a synergy between the three. As you all know, as user acquisition and machine learning are intertwining, the role of the user acquisition is transforming as well, and there's a big potential for that role, by the way, to really evolve from a very kind of like tactical daily optimization grind to a much more strategic and creative function. So, my name is Blotman, and I'm the growth director for Moloco here in Israel. We opened an office recently here in Tel Aviv, and I'll say a few words about it towards the end of the presentation. So again, for everyone who sticked around, thank you, and we'll do it with what we have. Okay, now you can hear me with the microphone. Let's begin. In the past few years, machine learning became an overused buzzword, and we can't really define with every product that we're engaging what is machine learning driven, what is not machine learning driven, what are the capabilities for that specific machine learning. So in the next few slides, I want to go over a few things when you're doing your due diligence on platforms, what you need to expect from your machine learning, and what you should kind of like look for. And in connection to that, there's this quote by Eric S. from Mobile Dev Memo. The greatest sin in user acquisition is leaving money on the table by not exploiting a workable channel. So these are the three things that you should expect from an operational, effective, and robust machine learning to do for you. Number one is automation. Number two is scale. And number three, for that machine and platform to have the maximum transparency and trust. And we'll dive into each one of those real quickly. So when talking about automation, it's important to differ between linear networks and between deep neural networks. Now, for solid, strong automation, for models that are optimizing themselves, you would like to utilize platforms that use DNNs. And I will maybe say a few words about that. So think about deep neural networks or DNNs. You can think about it a bit like the human brain, a machine and a network that has very robust capability to handle very huge amount of data, use the data and process it in a way that it draws conclusions and advances and learn and optimizes as time proceeds. And if we really want to kind of bring it down to us and see where DNNs are inferior to linear networks when you are doing your due diligence for each user acquisition platform that you're utilizing. So there are three things that you should look at. So number one, the difference in bidding, in targeting, and in the trust aspect. So when we're looking at bidding, linear networks usually utilize rigid models that are heavily rely on historical data. And in many cases, there's a lot of learning limitations. While DNNs has the ability to process and learn from very different variables, first-party data, campaign data, contextual signals, to drive results and drive insights in real time. And not only that, but to also update its own models in order to make the bidding process much more profitable and effective. Number two is targeting. So as you know, linear networks will usually utilize manual targeting. And with manual targeting, we are, in many cases, coming across granularity challenges. Granularity usually leads to lower scale. And in addition to that, the ability of those networks are not very successful or effective when it comes to get insights on those targeted and limited audiences. With DNNs, there's a utilization of a broad targeting, and there's a utilization of the entirety of the open internet, and those basically allows to sample a large and a bigger pool of users and signals, and that allows to the bidding to the targeting, sorry, to be much more dynamic and much more accurate. And lastly, budgeting. Budget pacing is very important. At the end of the day, the way that the system is pacing your budget throughout a certain time window is something that is crucial to your UA campaigns. And with linear networks, usually you will see kind of like consistent pacing in a smaller time frame. So you would usually see your impressions/spend going very consistently throughout the 24-hour window, which in many cases is suboptimal. While when we are talking about DNNs, we can utilize much larger time frames, and the budget is able to be much more dynamic, meaning that the system can scale and descale based on the opportunity and the predictions it sees. So when it doesn't see opportunities, no budget and impression will go out. When it sees more opportunities, more scale will come, and at the end of the day, the effectiveness of it is tenfold. Now let's talk about the second factor, which is scale. And let's do a bit of comparison between the walled gardens and the open internet. So walled gardens, as you may know them as the closed ecosystems such as Meta and Instagram and TikTok, etc., are limited to their own operated inventory. Now, when we're looking at the open internet, we have a gigantic opportunity when it comes to scale. More than 40 exchanges, more than 3 million apps we can run in 6.7 billion devices and 600 billion bid requests per day. And if we look even closer, we see that people spend almost 70% of their time in the open internet, while around 34% of their time in those walled gardens. So scalability and open internet is almost like a synonym. Last thing is trust and transparency, and things that you would like from your UA platform today, especially machine learning operated one. You would like transparency, and you would like the ability to see how your campaigns are going on the most granular level possible, whether it's publisher or log level data. Second thing is you want to utilize that same machine learning that helps you get those high value users. You want to utilize that technology to do fraud prevention. And last thing, and obviously like every other platform, you would like it to be compliant with every privacy regulation that is out there. Now let's bring this to the open internet, and how do we find success on the open internet utilizing operational machine learning. And by the way, a few words about operational machine learning. I'm not sure if I talked about it, but operational machine learning is basically machine learning that operates in production, meaning that the models are updating each time. You don't need to do too much processes between moving things from staging to production, meaning that everything is happening in real time and updating quite frequently, and I'll also talk about it in a few more slides. Now, let's talk about the pathway to success on the open internet. And in order to talk about it, we need to understand a bit how the open internet looks like, or how the relationship in the open internet looks like. And we have a tendency to really simplify how this edtech ecosystem looks like. A linear and a single lane relationship between a publisher and an advertiser with those links in the middle in order to drive bids and impressions. However, reality is much more complex. There's many paths out there. There's a vast network of exchanges and mediations, and it really gets you think, what should we look in the open internet? Should we look for inventory, unique inventory? Should we look for the right path? What will bring us the maximum value? And the answer for this is path, and I will say, and the reason is path is the answer, not inventory, is because there is no real exclusive inventory if you really look into it. There is approximately 1% unique inventory out there. The largest 6 exchanges are covering about 70% of the entire impressions out there, and there is tons of overlap. And that is the reason that what you need your machine learning to do is to find you the right and most profitable path by using this operational machine learning, by utilizing those predictions and those models that are constantly changing and updating in order to find the right path on the user level to maximize your value. Now, how does that work in practice? You want a machine or an operational machine learning that looks something like this, and this is like oversimplification, I'm aware of it, but you do want to have, on the one hand, a vast array of changes and variables and data that you are processing, from first-party data, including postbacks, to campaign data and contextual insights. You also want the operational part that I mentioned, the updating, the constant updating of the models and the optimization of the models to be as frequent as possible to make sure that you are running on the best model at every given moment. And in addition to those updates, you want a robust system that will test models at the background all of the time, eliminate ones that are not actually optimizing your performance, and pushing to production. It's already in production, but pushing to the actual campaign the best models that will find you the best users for the right winning bid price for any objective that you are basically optimizing towards, whether it's install, action, or ROAS. Second thing, and we're almost done, so bear with me. Another thing that you want from your machine learning platform to do, you want it to be user-focused, and you want it to be user-first. You don't want it to be biased towards any type of inventory. You want it to be user-centered, and you want it to be non-biased, and not to prioritize any type of inventory for any reason. You want the system to purely find the best users and convert it, and to generate maximum value. So in this chart, which is, again, simplification, you can see the difference between a platform that will basically see the user level and will pretty much ignore pushing. We saw kind of like the path chart over there. To push it through a specific exchange or path, and you want it to basically treat all paths as equal and only look at the user level. This also allows operational machine learning to find users in better places and optimized areas, versus finding them in places that has more competition. A user-centric ML platform will allow you to win bids more effectively and to maximize value. Now, I will take you really, really quickly through some of our partners and their success stories. From Scopely, that was able to overachieve their ROAS with Monopoly Go, and with Rovio that was able to and is able to increase their ROAS for a while with us and boost their retention metrics short and long term. Playrix recently did a very large leaf test with us, both in Europe and in the US, and they saw amazing results. And I think at the bottom line here, instead of me kind of like taking you through the entire thing, we have those things on our website, is to really kind of like understand that with strong operational machine learning, it doesn't really matter if your marketing goal is install, it's action, or it's ROAS. It doesn't really matter if it's gaming or consumer app. At the end of the day, operational machine learning is what you should demand from your partners these days, especially with the competition out there. Now, very quick key takeaways. Advanced machine learning is the future and present of user acquisition. DNS enables strong and sustainable performance. Advanced machine learning combines three components for success: automation, scale, and transparency. Advanced machine learning is the optimal solution to the complexity of the open internet, duplications, and lack of unique inventory. And advanced machine learning enables non-biased, user-centric models to maximize users' value. Now, that's it. I'll just say a few words. We opened an office recently in Tel Aviv, in the Toha building. This is the Tel Aviv team from Moloco. We are here in Israel. We are based here, and we are operating everything that is happening here. So whether you want to drop by, our office, by the way, is in Toha next to Derech HaShalom. But we also have a booth here outside with the cold brew, which I'm not sure if it's still there, but hopefully it is. So feel free to come, have a coffee, and talk to us. And have a great summit. Thank you for sticking around, and cheers. Thank you very much.